So this week, France organized a summit on African soil, and within 24 hours, it didn't even take long, African presidents held their own summit on African soil and said everything France didn't want said out aloud. Now, I could just report these two events to you just like that, this and that, this is what happened, but that would be lazy. Because what happened this week is not a diplomatic story, it's not a political story. I think what actually happened this week is a confession. This is a direct confession from France itself. So France just showed you without meaning to exactly how it still sees Africa, and Africa in front of the whole world showed France that the relationship is actually changing. I mean, we could see people outside protesting and, you didn't have to be right inside. And let me show you what I mean by this. Emmanuel Macron flew to Nairobi from France and called this whole thing the Africa Forward Summit. Okay, there were 30 heads of states. It's a big venue, fancy branding, lots of people in there. And Macron walked up to a microphone and told the room, he told Africa, he told us that France is one of the true Pan-Africanists. Now, this is not the first time Macron is actually repeating this sentiment. Now, Pan-Africanism, as you know it, you see, this is an ideology built in direct response to what France spent 300 years doing to the continent of Africa. And this man flew to Nairobi and claimed that word for France. Not once, he did it again, he said it again in 2025.
Emmanuel Macron represents French imperialism, not Pan-Africanism. He is not a Pan-Africanist, he is an imperialist. What have they done to the Sahel? What have they done to Cote d'Ivoire? What have they done to Gaddafi in Libya? That's the heritage of French imperialism, not in the 19th century, not even in the 20th century, that's all in the 21st century. That's what their face is like. There's no development. When they say development, it's development of their military bases, not development for the Kenyan people. It's not Pan-Africanism.
Around the same summit, we had this guy, the Total Energy CEO, Patrick Poyend, the guy that was filmed at a security checkpoint, arguing angrily with the security staff because he was stopped from actually entering in that summit. And at the same time, we could see there was Mr. Kagame as well, also waiting to get in. But this man was very, very impatient. Let's just take a look and see how badly this man behaved. Let's take a look. This is ridiculous, honestly. Now think about that image, the head of France's most powerful corporate presence in Africa, the company that is currently extracting oil, from Uganda, from Congo, from across the continent. This is the big shot. This is one of those guys that is in charge of such a big corporate organization, screaming at people whose land he's profiting from, and kudos to that security guy. He was patient, was calm. And for those of you that might say, no, I think he might have been having a bad day, I don't think this has got nothing to do with a bad day. This is just a personality, and this is the kind of relationship that this man has with probably even the people that he's working with. So I was saying 24 hours later on the same continent, in Kigali this time around, Rwanda, this time there was no France, there was no Total Energies, there was no microphone grabbing. Just the truth, it was just a beautiful, beautiful summit. Okay, so in that summit, there were 2,800 business leaders and two heads of state. So the first president, the host, obviously, Mr. Paul Kagame himself, the president of Rwanda. And then you had Mr. Gideon Boko, the president of Botswana. So they all walked into this Africa CEO forum. And they said plainly what they could not say in a room France had organized. So this was something that was unprecedented, and it was very nice to watch.
We can't just be people who are waiting to be ripped off.
Do you believe that all roads lead to mineral deals? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it is in the open. I don't have to say much. So these powers you see that come here lecturing people on democracy, human rights, and they are doing it with one arm, and the other, they are just taking away everything that people own. So, and this is what is critical. This is why Africa, leaders of Africa, some of whom are here, are brothers, and the CEOs and other Africans, I think we need to give ourselves value of some kind. We can't just be people who are waiting to be ripped off by somebody who is shrewd enough and has the power to come. No, we must be able to say no. And it is not so difficult to say no. In fact, it costs more to say yes to the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So we are here, but all these things come to pass in one form or another. Even those who have been given the gift of messing us up, one day they will not live long enough to see the gains from exploiting people or doing unjust things. So don't mind about these powers that think they own the world and heaven and everything else.
Then we had the president of Nigeria, Mr. Tinubu. He was very clear what he said. He says, we do not want any scavengers.
We don't want scavengers. We don't want extractors. We want people to add value. If you're an investor, we will encourage you to add value to what we have.
Thank you.